In this video, we'll write the balanced net ionic equation for CuCl2 plus NaOH, copper 2 chloride plus sodium hydroxide. First thing we need to do is balance the molecular equation. I can see that I have this hydroxide here, but I have two of them here. So I'm just going to put a 2 in front of the NaOH. That gives me two sodiums with only one here. I'll put a 2 here, balances the sodiums, and now I have two chlorine atoms, 2 here, one copper, one copper. So we've balanced the molecular equation. Now we need to write the states for each substance. So chloride compounds are very soluble. We're going to write Aq. That means it'll dissolve into the water, dissociate into its ions. It's aqueous. Sodium compounds as well. In general, hydroxides aren't soluble, but if you have group 1 elements like sodium or potassium, they will be aqueous. They'll be soluble in water. In general, though, hydroxides aren't soluble. In copper 2 hydroxide, it's insoluble or slightly soluble in water. With net ionic equations, and that's the case, we're going to put an S for solid. That means that when these two substances react, this will precipitate out. It'll fall to the bottom of the test tube as a solid. It'll be a precipitate. Sodium compounds, very soluble. It'll Aq in front. So now we have the states for each substance. We can now split strong electrolytes into their ions. That'll give us the complete ionic equation. Copper is a transition metal. We don't know its charge just looking at it, but we do know that chlorine forms 1- ionic charge. So we have two of those. This has to be 2+. That's why I call this copper 2 chloride. The 2 tells me this is copper 2. Sodium +1 hydroxides, that's going to be negative charge. So let's write these ions up. Cu2+, and I won't write aqueous till the end, plus the chloride ion, Cl-, and I have two of those. Plus I have two sodium ions, and then two hydroxide ions. So these are the reactants in our chemical equation. We said that with this copper 2 hydroxide, it's a solid. We do not split solids apart in net ionic equations. We just write CuOH2. So we don't dissociate this into its ions. Then we have two sodium ions. So that was plus and minus, two sodium ions, and two chloride ions. And this is what we call the complete or total ionic equation. Now we can cross these spectator ions out. They appear on both sides of this total or complete ionic equation. So I can see I have the chloride ion, two chloride ions in the reactants, two in the products. I can cross those out. Two sodium ions, cross them out. But everything else, that's unique. And that gives us our net ionic equation for CuCl2 plus NaOH. I'll clean this up and write the states in, and we'll have our net ionic equation. And this is the net ionic equation for copper 2 chloride plus sodium hydroxide. We have the same number of each type of atom on both sides, and charge that's also balanced. This is Dr. B, and thanks for watching.